I've published two works of fiction so far, and they were slightly different routes to publication. Both of them were with small independent presses, which is something I'm really, really pleased about. The first is with a publisher called Penned in the Margins, who are actually usually a poetry publisher. So I went to them with a slightly weird, quirky experimental novella. And that went directly to them, and they kind of took a punt on something quite unusual, and it was really interesting for me as a prose writer to work with a poetry publisher for that first project. And then my second project is a novel, and that went through an agent to a number of publishers, including Dead Ink, who are a wonderful publisher based in Liverpool, who are part of a consortium called the Northern Fiction Alliance, who are kind of working together to really highlight the strength and diversity of the work that's being published in the north of England. So again, that was a small independent press, but a slightly different process because it went through an agent. The first things that I started writing were short fiction. So I sent out short fiction to a number of agents, many of whom quite predictably said, "These stories are lovely. We don't make any money from stories. Please send us a novel when you have one." I mean, those were the polite ones. Many of them never replied. But one agent did reply and wanted to meet with me, and again, didn't want to represent the short fiction, but wanted to work with me to develop a novel over a period of time. So that was a kind of longer term relationship, and the earlier things that I worked on, I didn't work with the agent, but I did with the novel. I think there's a whole range of different things that you can learn about from studying creative writing, either as an undergraduate or a postgraduate. One of the main things that we try and focus on is helping students to read as a writer. So to go back to the works that they really love, to think about how they're put together, to think about the craft behind them, but also to expand their horizons about reading and about the great works that might exist in lots of different forms and genres. That's another thing that we encourage students to do. You might think you're a novelist, you may gain an awful lot from reading contemporary poetry, for example. So we try and broaden people's experiences of the written words. We also teach on a workshop model. So that means that students are sharing work in progress, they're getting feedback on that, and that really is a kind of a taste of what it's like to work with an editor, I suppose. So we're giving them that experience of an editorial relationship. I think those are two of the benefits, but we also try and give them opportunities to think about what it's like to have a career in the literary industries or in the publishing industries. That's when a day like today can be a really fantastic opportunity for students to learn more. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for students to, or any aspiring writer really, to get an idea of different approaches to both developing work, and then once that work is developed, how to get it out there, what you want to do with it, and how to get your work to reach the people you want it to reach, whether that's particular agents and editors, whether that's going direct to an audience. All sorts of interesting discussions this morning about different modes of publication, different modes of dissemination, as well as really interesting discussions about how to produce new work, how to craft that work once the initial splurge of work is done.